All right, episode 12, 12, 12, 12. This is amazing. Today is going to be a great episode for a couple of reasons. We are going to talk about a very exciting topic. You know, it's crazy how time flies. Time flies when you're having fun, right? It's almost the half of the year. Who would have thought? Uh, just a couple of weeks ago, we were like, yeah, happy New Year. And now we are very close to be like, happy Q3.
Yep.
So today, I'm rocking my friend's t shirt. I hope that I'm not infringing any copyright issues with what I just did. But Friends is a show that I love because I feel that is, it's going through life between friends, having fun, doing what you love. So, and I love watching Friends, even though you know the show ended a couple of a bunch of years ago. So let's start there. Like Ian, what are some of your top tips for for energizing for energizing teams, for energizing, sales and marketing efforts, um, going into the crazy second half that we are expected to have
Yeah.
in 2024.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a big one. And just to say very quickly, happy Pride Month, everyone. We're at the start of it. So yeah, I hope everyone does some great things with their team and their friends and their family. And yeah, going back to the friends element, like big month and a lot of support out there. So enjoy it. Yeah, so I think a couple of things going into how can you energize your team for the rest of 2024. I think the biggest part of it for me is take a breath. The start of this year, I think, was crazy for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I think the first few months of the year, I think, took a while to warm up. I think, Q2 may have started to ease for people a little bit. I think a few more people were stopping kind of sitting on their hands and making a few decisions, which is nice to see. It's been a turbulent few years. Everyone knows that, but there does feel a bit like there's a sense of normality kind of returning. But that's not to say that we can't just put a pause on things and work out what's worked and what hasn't. I think the tendency nowadays is to kind of just do things all the time. And I think we talked about this a little while ago, thinking time is still working time. And taking a moment to actually think about what's happened in the first half of the year and think about what you want to do differently, whether that's, from a business perspective, whether it's like in your day-to-day life perspective, and work out what's best for you so that you can be effective. So I think, my top tip or my first top tip would be stop and take a breath. I think my second top tip, and this perhaps comes from the kind of founder in me, is that, it's about making sure that your alignment with the business at every kind of stage or every, part of the company has evolved as the year has gone on. What you started out trying to achieve 6 months ago might not be the same thing that you need to achieve over the next 6 months. But if you don't realign your goals and realign your thinking, then it's going to be very difficult to achieve, what the business needs you to achieve, or, what you need to personally achieve to get the job done. So, I think my two top tips of, take a moment to think about what you're doing, and then also kind of realigning or making sure you're aligned with the goals of the business, very much hand in hand. And I think goal setting as part of that alignment is also, is really important. Like sometimes we're really good at setting goals arbitrarily. And, I think actually what's important is making sure that you can set goals that allow you to see a direction of travel rather than just focusing on what that end number looks like. You've got to be able to reflect on, am I closer today than I was yesterday to actually achieving what I want to achieve. So, you know, really breaking down what you've got to be able to achieve over the rest of the year to, you know, be where you want to be is really important. And like I say, sometimes direction of travel and momentum is as important as hitting a singular number. So I think it's also, you know, taking a breath to work out if you're progressing in the way that you're progressing, are you going to get to where you want to be? And I guess the reality is if you're not, what are you going to do about it? And like, how can you reassess things? So yeah, I'm going to keep my two things like hopefully relatively simple is, you know, stop and take a breath. Um, and also just make sure you're aligned with your own goals and the goals of the company, and have like a meaningful way of approaching it all. But I'm going to flip the question onto Maurizio as well, because I'm sure you've got some things that, you know, you think about when you get to these milestones through the year around, you know, where you are, where you want to be, and what the direction of travel is.
Yeah. Oh, uh, so many things that I want to say. Um, so I want to get started by giving praise to very specific people because as you were speaking in, I had these recollections of things that I've been taught along the way, and I remember David Torres when we used to work together at HubSpot. You know, we talked about bag goals. He's like, "What's your bag goals? Like, what is a bag? That just sounds like bag." It's like, no, bag. It's big, audacious, bold, attainable goals. It's like think through your big, audacious, bold, attainable goals. And think through like more than set a goal, like write the goal. Think about like why do you want to achieve that goal? Is it a personal goal? Is it a professional goal? Is it a little bit of both? And then it was very special because um, we sort of mixed them both together. So how could you, you know, use your career as the vehicle to drive, you know, those meaningful professional goals that impacted those personal goals as well. And one of those was buying a property down in Colombia, you know, a couple of years ago. So that's the first person, and the second person, Jordan Benjamin. This is a friend also back from HubSpot that, you know, if you don't follow Jordan, you definitely should. He, I think he's like a mental health and happiness guide for folks. Um, he talks about mental health a lot. He talks about like finding your happiness a lot, and I think that when you think through everything that we're going through as people, as businesses, as a society, um, we tend to be very hard on ourselves, and even like, dude, like from the startup universe, this imposter syndrome just is never ending. You know, there's always something that you could have done better. You know, raise more money, grow faster, burn less money. You know, raise more rounds, get profitable quickly. You know, hire this person, fire this person. You know, develop this partnership, close this deal. So there is a lot of things that you constantly go through that you're like, I should have, the shoulda, woulda, coulda. I could have done that. I should have done this. You know, and I think that it's very important for us to take a step back to take two forward.
Yeah.
Right. Sort of like take a step back and look at the forest and not just focus on a specific tree.
Yeah.
I think that is very important. To give ourselves praise, surround ourselves with people that with like-minded individuals that we're all go through the motions, and we're all doing the best with what we have, and I think that is very valuable. And you know, um, when let's say you're at your 30%, you come in Monday morning or Tuesday or Wednesday or Friday or whatever, and you're at your 30%. And that day you give your 30%, you give 30%, you gave your 100% because you were at 30%.
Yeah.
And I think that is incredibly important. If you're hitting your goals, great. Take a step back and think, like, what have you done and what have you learned along the way, and reset those goals. The 10x rule, beautiful book, amazing book. Reset your goals, but not just like write it in a piece of paper. Think about, like, why is that meaningful, right? And why is that important to you? And if things aren't going your way, well, also reset your goals, but also think about, like, what has worked along the way, and what have you tried, and what have you learned about the process, about the business, about the relationships that you built, the conversations that you've had, and also about yourself. Because many times we as people, we sort of like lose we lose trust, and we sort of like lose ourselves because of that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So taking a step back to take two forward, I think is incredibly important. And also, thinking through this, I think the alignment is very important. So if your goals and your motivations and your energy as a person, as a team, as a business, isn't aligned, it's a great time for you to take a step back and realign yourself, your team, your business, your clients to the why, to the mission, to the reason why you do what you do every day. What can you tell us about that?
I think the thing that I zero in on there is the why. Like, I think we get trapped sometimes in doing things because we like, as creatures, we like routine, and we build these routines because they're comfortable to operate in. But sometimes we don't question why we have these routines and why they exist. So I think those, those moments of self-awareness, to be able to say, look, something's not working here, or something's not right. Why are they not working? And spending some time to really think about that is like the most powerful thing that we can ever do. Because, acknowledging that something's not working, but still doing the same thing is like, it's just craziness. Like, you're just going to drive yourself into the ground. Thinking about why it's not working and like trying some things out to change that approach is massive. So, I think that's the big thing that I take from that. And we're not very good at asking why sometimes. Like, we're very good at asking, like, acknowledging that something's not going well, but we kind of often just leave it at that. So no, I think that my approach to this has always been, we've got this kind of mantra in Stockpress where we talk about this idea of, it's not fail fast, it's rapid test, because you can't fail at something you've never done before. The only time you can fail is if you've tried something and you've had a bad outcome, and then you do exactly the same thing again. Like, yeah, that feels like failure. But, if you're rapid testing and you're constantly learning, then, you can't really go wrong. So, but I think the thing with that is you can only achieve that if you're asking yourself why, and you're materially prepared to do something differently in the first place. So, that's a big thing for me. And I think hopefully, this sense of like reflection, self-awareness, ask yourself why, hopefully will give some people that are listening to this the ingredients they need to be able to go out and be successful. So I think that's how we'd leave today, is just, think about these things, give yourself some time, go out and be successful, and have a great rest of the 2024.
And have fun, because if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, agreed. All right, take care.
See you all next time in our next episode. Thanks, Ian.
Bye.